We're excited to make this our new home, our beautiful front of our 223 Main Street here in downtown Milford. Love at first sight. Second we saw this building available and saw the downtown, it immediately spoke to us. We were looking for a building that had an iconic look, whether it's the green marble out front, the classic stonework, the ornate molding around the corner, its prominence in the center of downtown. It was a beautiful building right from the start. We loved it.
So this was originally a bank?
This was Rockland Trust, actually.
Wow.
And it's been a bank for probably over 100 years. But there are pieces of the bank that we kept, and we think that story is a big part of what we're doing here. Our overall design is based on comfort and celebrating some of the natural features of the buildings. Like, you don't need to do a lot if the building's already beautiful. And I think even in Hudson, we peeled back the drop ceilings and saw that beautiful tin ceiling that had been there for over 100 years. I think a lot of that will be echoed here, and especially when you look at the footprint and the way we've laid out, which I'll show you in a minute, it'll feel like a rail trail once you walk in. We're in the back of Rail Trail. We have a beautiful, gigantic parking lot where families will be able to park and come right in. We pulled out the front of the space to create a huge patio. So eventually we envisioning a patio that can accommodate people various seasons, have some covered aspect to it. Our future goal is to eventually bring New City here as well, our sister company. And when you have both patios spilling out into the back lot here, we really feel like it's going to be family central. So during the day, probably a lot of business will be here, enjoying some lunches, getting some sun. Families will come throughout, and then at night, hopefully, it'll be a great place to have a cocktail. So partner experience, while we're still heavy in construction here, but this will be where most people come in through. The back of our restaurant will probably be our main entrance, and we're really excited. Right away, you'll walk right in, you'll be pulled into the space, and immediately you'll see the bar and our flatbread ovens. We tried to make it similar in its design philosophy towards Rail Trail and Hudson, where the two things that are going to be our most inviting things are right front and center, our oven and our bar where people are going to congregate. One of the biggest challenges was getting rid of the vault, which was right here, front and center. Took us about 6 or 7 months with a professional company that just had to chisel out all the concrete. There was a couple feet of concrete and steel. Some of the vault guys that helped us take it, they said that the old saying was, if you could break in, you deserve to get what's in it. So it was a challenge. It was a big undertaking, and we had to brace and support the building just to get it out of here. And we also added a big elevator to be able to accommodate people up and down at all levels. So those were the two of the most challenging physical changes that we had in the space. There was a bank in here, so there was offices and teller counters everywhere. We had to remove some of those, but the layout of the business, of the restaurant, sort of morphed into its own organically because of some of the limitations and characteristics we wanted to have. We definitely knew we needed 2 ovens. We wanted a longer bar, and we had an idea of how many seats we wanted here. So some of the decisions were made for us, and I think it turned out really nicely. We reclaimed a lot of the old mahogany, almost all of it, from the bank. These beautiful panels were all over the building. They were used for office interiors, decor, shelving, bookcases. From a waste perspective, it would have been terrible to just throw all this beautiful wood. It's been sitting here for 100 years, just throw it out and start fresh. It's a big part of how we think about building places, is trying to be resourceful. I think if you look at the way Rail Trail Hudson was designed, we begged, borrowed, and stole a lot of the equipment and resources that construct our restaurant, And you know, people still get a kick of the fact that our bar front was made from old church pews. And you know, I think it's part of who we are to try to be as resourceful as possible. So using some of the old wood in the bank, the doors, the moldings, was without question something we were going to do. I didn't want the design to feel like you're walking into a bank, but I did want us to pay homage to the bank's history. So some of the things that you see in the business will be part of the bank, but it won't overtly be saying you're in a bank right now. This is Alan.
Okay.
Many of you might know him. If you don't, you need to get out from under your rock. He's incredibly crafty. He's an amazing carpenter, a woodworker, and he is helping us put this together. I think we could have hired carpenters to help build the front of the bar, but Alan, being our beverage director, volunteered to take extra time out of his schedule to splash his touch and a little bit of his DNA. Right? We had a little bloodshed.
Yeah, it happens.
Alan is really helping us out making this front of the bar, and it's going to be a cool story to tell for generations. How will it feel, Alan, to be making cocktails at a bar that you...
This is literally going to be our cocktail station right here. This is the service bar where all the drinks are coming out. So
Yeah, so
hopefully very soon.
you'll probably be the first face anyone sees, right, when they walk in the back.
Really? I am making the first cocktails
Yeah.
behind the bar.
Yeah, and Alan and Luke helped me lay out the whole bar. They've been integral in kind of helping design the flow and the layout, and I think that that's kind of something you can only know if you have been a bartender for 100 years like Alan has been.
Very old.
But we've worked with designers and architects and different people, and I think like the best things are things that we design ourselves for our needs, our functions, and it's been a pleasure to like learn how to make better designs and learn those skills in order to make what we do easier. And I think it's always just that much more rewarding, and you can never kind of replicate the stuff that Alan can design versus someone who doesn't bartend for a full time.
Nor would you want to.
Nor would you want to. These are our horses, our ponies. Easy, girl, easy. These are where all the magic will happen, so to speak. Hand carved, hand cut by artisans. They're beautiful pieces of art. They're each about 15,000 pounds. They're sitting on concrete slabs, and below that, they're being supported by some really, really beefy steel structures that are then pinned into the foundation of the building. So incredibly difficult to design and engineer. These are our designs, actually. I'll show you here the way it looks inside. But it's a beehive style that has a sunken hearth in the middle, and it allows us to kind of do a lot of interesting things with the fire. We can prep a lot of ingredients. It gives us a lot of room to use the coals and the flames in different ways that a traditional pizza oven wouldn't be able to. They're beautiful. I can't wait to fire them up. Took them a few weeks to build, and it's probably going to take a few more weeks of design to make it ready to go for a commercial kitchen. So we love these ovens. Thank you, John, for building them. It's been really rewarding for me to be the lead on the construction here and gain that set of experience as well, because it helps sort of determine the initial launch of the restaurant and where it's going to go in the future. And I think that to leave a lot of that responsibility to an outside third party wouldn't feel quite right for us. And I think that we love to build a lot of things from the ground up, whether that's a new PR program, or learning how to make a new ramen noodles, or the way we've learned how to make ice cream, and we feel that compounding effect of continuing to invest and learn in things eventually brings like a tremendous amount of value to us, as painstaking and time consuming as it is. It's been a great journey. It's taken us a long time, but certainly I think we're trying to do things with as much intention and long-term thinking as we can. So we don't mind taking some extra time to do things the right way, especially for something we're so invested in and so proud of.